To order, may I request President Michael? And for the invocation, may I call on Rotarian Reggie Ponferrada.
In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Eternal God, thank you for the gift of this day and the blessings you have in store for us today. In these times of considerable uncertainty and change, teach us to develop a mindset that embraces play, exploration, and learning through trial and error. Give us the ability to reduce significant sources of stress, the resilience to do well in spite of hardships and threats, and the gratefulness to find joy and fulfillment in the everyday. Dear God, we seek your honor in everything we do and say. So we lift up this meeting to you. Be in our midst, bind our hearts and minds by your Spirit. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son.
Please remain standing for the national anthem and the RC Makati hymn.
Together we stand proud. We are leaders with integrity, always ready to serve humanity, always living by the four-way test, building goodwill and peace along the way, giving hope to the world. We're the Rotary Club of Makati, prepared to aid our fellow men. As true Rotarians we live to lead. We believe in service above self, and this is why we succeed. We're the Rotary Club of Makati, and together we stand proud. We are leaders with integrity, always ready to serve humanity, always living by the four-way test, building goodwill and peace along the way, giving hope to the world. We're the Rotary Club of Makati, giving hope to the world. The Rotary Club of Makati.
Now may I request our fellow Rotarians to remain standing. Our guests, please sit down. Fellow Rotarians, let's recite the four-way test. Please repeat after me. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? All right, thank you, fellow Rotarians. You may now take your seats. Now let's go to greetings to birthday and wedding anniversary celebrators. First off, okay. So we have, for the Rotarians, we have Gaston Pastrano on May 3, Freddy Plasinio, May 5, Don Lino, May 6. For the Rotary Ants, we have Luli De Leon on May 2, today. Happy birthday. Cristina Ordovesa, May 6. Connie Toledo, May 7. And for our wedding anniversary celebrator, we have Director Julian and Anne Julian Lim on May 7. All right, so happy birthday and happy wedding anniversary to our celebrators. Let's go now to the acknowledgement of guests and visiting Rotarians. Let's start with the dignitaries. We have DGND Reggie Nolido. Di pa sanay. For our Rotarians who are attending virtually, we have Anne Nelly Bengson, we have Anne Yvonne Kwan, and Anne Lulim Huko. For our guests, we have Day Lee, who is a companion of our guest speaker, Lance Torres, Kada Career. There's Lance. Ria Hasmines. All right. Also from Kada Career. And Dr. Kevin Santos, Quirino Memorial Medical Center. Welcome to you all. Now let's go to update on microfinance project. May I call on Treasurer Tony Lopez? Is he here already? He's just approaching. Let's give him a few minutes to settle down. Perhaps we can go to the awarding of the Hatch winners first. Sir Tony, are you okay to proceed? Okay. Please welcome Treasurer Tony Lopez for the updates on the microfinance project.
Sorry, I just arrived. Ron, are we okay with the slides? Okay, good afternoon, everyone. This project, Tuloy sa Pagunlad, Inc., TSPI, was started in 2009. Okay, and the reason I'm presenting this, Mr. President, is because the beneficiaries of Tuloy sa Pagunlad had a tribute to RC Makati. So Tuloy sa Pagunlad is a project in 2009 which we launched in conjunction with Rotary International, a global grant, and funding from Rotary Club of Singapore. So you're probably wondering what was raised. It was 3 million. 3 million was given to Tuloy sa Pagunlad as seed capital. I believe now, if you look at the slides, their seed capital is close to 600 million. Okay. One of their biggest donors is of late is Standard Chartered Bank. Okay, so they have lent a lot of money, and they have a good lineup of thousands of microfinance agents who work with them throughout the country. The second slide is out of that 3 million seed capital, RC Makati is not meant to earn money from the 3% interest. However, this interest which they pay is accumulated over the years. And 2 years ago, immediate past President Louis handed over a 580,000 donation to their Sambayanan project, which is supposed to help digitize the activities of the agent. And so a final report was given by TSPI on that IPP Louis donation is granted during his time. And all of this is leading to a video, Ron. Are we good? That's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Treasurer
Tapos
Tony.
na nagpapasalamat sa TSPI Sambayanihan Center Business Program at sa Rotary Club of Makati. Salamat po sa ipinagkaloob niyo sa aming cellphone at sa inyong pagtitiwala upang magkaroon po kami ng dagdag kita para sa aming mga agent. Lubos na nagpapasalamat sa TSPI at ang Rotary Club of Makati sa ibinigay na programa para sa aming mga agent ng Tayabas. Ito po'y malaking tulong sa amin dahil napabilis po ang transaksyon ng mga hulog ng TSPI Tayabas.
Nagpapasalamat po ako sa TSPI at Rotary Club of Makati sa maganda ninyong adhikain sa bawat miyembro ng TSPI dahil sa ibinigay ninyong pagkakataon at tiwala.
Ako po ay taos-pusong nagpapasalamat sa TSPI at Rotary Club of Makati. Malaking tulong po ang pinagkaloob sa akin bilang isang agent. Natustusan ko po ang pag-aaral ng aking anak at naidagdag puhunan sa aking negosyo. Maraming salamat po at sana'y marami pa kayong agent na mabigyan ng ganitong opportunity at matulungan.
Maraming salamat po TSPI at Rotary Club of Makati. Agent po ako na nabigyan ng opportunity na kumita na ito po ay nakakatulong sa aking pamilya at sa aking personal development.
Ay labis na nagpapasalamat sa ibinigay na oportunidad ng Rotary Club of Makati. Ang TSPI kasama ang Rotary Club of Makati ay siya naging daan upang mapalago ang aking negosyo. Dahil sa kanilang pagsisikap na mabigyan ng cellphone bawat agent ng TSPI, naging dahilan para mapabilis ang pagtatransact ng mga kliyente ng TSPI.
Nagpapasalamat sa TSPI Rotary Club of Makati at sa SCBP na kami po ay binigyan nila ng ganitong trabaho bilang agent. Napakalaking tulong po nito para sa amin na binigay po ninyo.
Ako po ay nagpapasalamat sa TSPI at sa Rotary Club of Makati dahil po sa malaking tulong at opportunity po na binigay niyo po sa akin para po ako ay kumita. Maraming salamat.
Dahil po sa pagiging agent ko po, ang munti ko pong negosyo ay natulungan po nito. At lalo na po yung pangangailangan ng aking pamilya, dito ko rin po siya nakukuha sa pagiging agent. Lalo na po at ako'y solo parent. Kaya maraming salamat po TSPI at Rotary Club of Makati dahil po sa inyo, natulungan niyo po ako. Sana po mas marami pa po kayong taong kagaya ko ang matulungan ninyo. Maraming salamat po. God bless you sa inyong lahat.
Okay, thank you again, Treasurer Tony, and congratulations for that very successful project. Now, may we call on Director Boom Bilatuya for the awarding of the Hatch project winners. Director Boom.
Thank you very much, Rotarian Chris. So I'm very excited to announce our winner for the Hatch project. But before that, I'd like to give a quick recap on what happened about the Hatch project. So Hatch project, in essence, is an open invitation, open innovation challenge to the public to submit solutions covering the areas of artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, digital platforms, and other cutting-edge technologies. And the sectors that we want to address in this competition are the areas of health, education, and agriculture. So we started with 170 entries, down to 100 entries, then down to 20 entries, and then last Saturday, we reduced it to 3 entries. So I think it's only befitting that I acknowledge and thank all the judges who have helped us in this project. The first batch of judges are our preliminary judges. They are P.E. Bing Matoto, P.N. Keith Harrison, P.P. Bimbo Mills, P.P. Junjun Dairit, D.G.N. Reggie Nolido, Director Philip Soliven, Director Drex Lagi, Neil Makashar, Brian Liu, Winston Uy, Reggie Ponferrada, Paulo Turno, Nico Sunga, Nico Dairit, Chito Cantada, Roger Collantes, and Vilim. And for our final judges who did the scoring last Saturday, they are P.E. Bing Matoto, VJ Manuel of Advanced Digital Transformation Services, Mr. Art Patungan of the Analytics Association of the Philippines, and Mr. Nico de la Cruz, who's here with us from the Rotaract Makati, the president of Rotaract. And I would also like to thank our project manager, Mr. Myke Dumagas, who's here. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now I will be giving now the ranking of the 3 winners. So 2 of the 3 winners are here with us today. So for the 3rd place, who will receive 50,000 pesos, the winner is TB Detect. Thank you, Dr. Santos. Dr. Santos is a radiologist. Is that correct? From the project of Dr. Santos is a mobile app that can detect TB, the presence of TB by taking a picture of the X-ray result. So that is the core essence of the project. Okay, our 2nd place winning 75,000 pesos is Bangus Proactive Fish Kill. I think they're from in Zoom, no? They're based in Dagupan, so they cannot join us face to face today.
Yes, sir. We're actually here right now. Thank you so much for this award. We're very happy for this.
So the Bangus Proactive Fish Kill is basically a sensor that you put in the water. And I'm not a scientist, but it can detect chemical imbalance in the water that could, it could predict the risk of a fish kill. No? So it could allow you to take action ahead of time. Okay, so it will come as no surprise that our grand winner and first place is Kada Career, winning 125,000 pesos.
Hello. Okay, so thank you very much for the awarding and the recognition. So I think I'll just start with the I guess who I am, and then what Kada Career is, and then what the virtual program was all about. So my name is Lance Torres. You can just call me Lance. So I am their partnerships lead. So we're the ones that connects with companies and all that stuff. So the Kada Career is essentially a low bandwidth platform that will provide underserved students in the Philippines resources to help with their career development opportunities. So we provide coaching. So our coaches are found from different kinds of companies like Accenture, Globe, and others. So they're all lending their services for free to help the students acquire some advice about resume and interview. And then we also provide different kinds of opportunities for upskilling. So one of them is actually the virtual apprenticeship program that not only provides a opportunity for them to test their skills, but it also gives them practical work experience that they can use to add to their portfolio. So with the virtual apprenticeship program, we aim to solve two things, right? So there is an opportunity to solve some business woes from the SMEs in the Philippines because they're looking for talent. And then there's another woe that we're trying to solve, which is on the student side, who is trying to get more experience so that they can be more employable for entry-level jobs. So what we did was come up with a program that solves these things together. So we do all of the legwork, we contact the companies, and we recruit the apprentices so that they could increase their employability for the future. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So congratulations again, Kada Career. So that's all for me, Mr. President. Back to you, Rotarian Chris.
All right. Congratulations again, Kada Career. And of course, the team of Director Boom Bilatuya for the successful project. Now, before we move on to the next part of our program, may I call on DGND Regino Lido for a short message.
Hello, fellow RC Makati Rotarians. I stand before you today in my capacity as DGND and to be governor for 2025-26. Now, you might be wondering how it is that the district is able to fund district grants and global grants during any particular year. Usually the district is there to provide funding for projects of various clubs within the district. You know, most of the clubs, if not, most of the clubs in the district are not as fortunate as we are. When we have projects, we usually have a source of funds to be able to do the project. However, a lot of the clubs in the district are unable to do this. They usually depend on the district to provide them funding for their projects. So how does the district fund that? One of the ways that the district can fund projects is through the distribution of what we call district designated funds. And this is usually used for district grants and global grants. Now, you might be wondering again, where does the district designated fund come from? The district designated fund comes from contributions by the district to the Rotary Foundation 3 years before. Okay, so what does that mean? When you give to the Rotary Foundation today and place your contribution to the annual fund, 47.5% of your contribution comes back to the district 3 years later. And the governor at that time will then be able to use that fund to be able to fund district grants and global grants. Now, I am going to be governor in 2025-2026, which means that contributions to the annual fund this Rotary year, 2022 to 2023, will be what I will be using for my district grants and global grants for the different clubs in the district. The unfortunate reality is that the contributions to the annual fund this year has been very meager, to the point that when I inherit the funds 3 years from now, I will hardly have enough to be able to do district grants and global grants with the different clubs in the district. I am therefore standing before you today to make an appeal. I am appealing for members of our club to please contribute additionally to the Rotary Foundation. Many of you have already contributed your Paul Harris contributions for this year. If you have, I am imploring you to again contribute a Paul Harris or even any amount, even if it does not amount to $1,000 US. Because this amount that we will raise is something that I can then be able to use to help the different clubs in our district 3 years from now. And therefore, I am again appealing to you, please, if you are able to do so, contribute to the Rotary Foundation and maybe get another Paul Harris, or even maybe more than just one Paul Harris. I would really appreciate that, and that will only help us during our term. Please remember, my term in 2025 is just not me. It is actually our term as a Rotary Club of Makati. So it will actually help our term in the year 2025-2026. Thank you very much, and I really appreciate the help that you give.
All right, thank you, DG and D Reginolido, for that message. And I hope, fellow Rotarians, you listen to the appeal of DG and D Reggie. So, Sir Reggie, I'm pledging one Paul Harris for that thing. All right, now let's go to the President's time. So may I call on President Michael Escaler for the President's time.
Good afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon, Mr. PP Tito Panlilio. I have been reporting to you our club's activities in providing nutrition to young children, especially during their formative years 0 to 5. And I'm happy that our members are responding by participating in the program. Last April 26, I was happy to see President nominee designate Eddie Galvez, Director Ami and Boom Villatuya, Ann Menchit Ordoveza, and our new member, James and Jenny Bosch, who was actually spending her birthday there in the feeding program. The first batch of children enrolled in our RC Makati for Babies program at Rotary Homes in Parañaque. Allow me to share the RCM video news of the project.
Undeterred by the blistering summer heat, the RC Makati for Babies team pushed through with the scheduled culmination of the program, the graduation of 68 children enrolled in the nutrition program at Rotary Homes Parañaque. The kids had completed 180 feeding days, 6 months of daily feeding as prescribed by the project design. There to grace the occasion and to interact with the kids and their parents were President Michael and First Ann Papat Escaler, President Nominee Designate Eddie Galvez, Director Bom and Amy Villatuya, Baby Rotarian James and Jenny Bosch, and Ann Menchit Ordiveza, the brains behind the project. It was Ann Menchit who conceptualized the Mingo Meals project and is at the forefront of efforts to see it through. In the last month's implementation, powdered Mingo Meals sachets were distributed to the 68 children. This was followed by a cooking session for the Love Share meals, where the parents volunteered to prepare a nutritious meal of munggo with squash and malunggay leaves with ground pork and rice, washed down with fresh buko juice. In a simple program emceed by RCC Par 1 Treasurer Mary Joy Gernale, President Michael expressed delight over the program's success.
Pinapanood ko yung mga bata, sabi ko, okay, malusog dito lahat. Before, when we started, yung tayong institution ko yun, malusog sila lahat.
Out of 68 kids from PAR 1 and 3, 66 kids gained normal weight. 1 kid was unable to complete the program. By the end of 180 feeding days, the team realized a 98% success rate.
I really want to thank, I was talking to Menchit or the Vesa, who's really very passionate about these things. And I told her, Tony Lopez told us that he still has 1.5 million pesos unused in that project. And she promised me that she will demolish the 1.5 million unused project of Tony Lopez. So the best is yet to come. And just yesterday, on May 1st, we launched another feeding program, this time for 60 children in Bay Laguna, in partnership with our longtime service partner, Kabisig ng Kalahi. The program will feed hot meals and a glass of milk to 60 undernourished children for 6 months. I would like to thank PP Freddy and Jojo Borromeo, President-elect Bing Matoto with his kid and grandkid, and Director Andrew and Maida Prieto for spending their holiday with me at the feeding site. We are just 2 months away from finishing the Rotary year, and I'm hoping the future leadership of our club will sustain our efforts in providing good nutrition for the children badly in need of them. Last Saturday, the club conducted its final pitch for over 16 finalists of the Hatch Project, a nationwide search for technology or digitally driven projects in 4 critical areas of national development: agriculture, health, education, and social entrepreneurship. I would like to thank the judges, Director Boom Villatuya and PE Bing Matoto, as well as guest judges, as well as other judges from other organizations, Mr. BJ Manuel from MAP, Mr. Art Patungan of AAP, and President Nico de la Cruz of RAC Makati, for spending over 9 hours to listen and digest pitches of the 16 finalists and discussing their proposals. Thank you as well to the RCM members who participated in the screening process and for trimming down the long list of 170 to a short list of 20. Special thanks again to Director Boom for championing this very worthy program to bring out the best technology-driven projects where the club can support and partner with organizations to better address the pressing needs in our communities. I hope you can support the next year's Rotary leadership team led by PE Bing Matoto by attending the pre-planning session tomorrow, May 3rd, 12 noon at the RCM Clubhouse. Your inputs are very valuable to our club, and we hope you can participate. This is also a last call for those who want to join us in the Rotary International Convention in Melbourne on May 27th to the 31st. Aside from me and Ma'am Papat, PDG Sid and Tesh, President nominee Keith and Rachel have confirmed also to attend. The RI convention is an event every Rotarian should aspire to attend at least once in his or her lifetime as a member of the Rotary Club. It's almost akin to the Muslims' Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca. I hope more of you can join us on this trip. Thank you very much. Have a nice afternoon.
All right, thank you, President Michael Escaler. Acknowledging also the presence of Ann Rachel Harrison and of PND Kit Harrison. Now, to introduce our guest speaker, may I call back on to the podium, DGND Reggie Nolido.
Again, good afternoon, everyone. Our guest speaker today is going to talk about a very interesting topic for us. Okay, so if you want to know about his resume, all you have to do is look through the kaunlaran, you'll see it there. Now, the guest speaker is actually somebody that I've known for quite some time. We consider ourselves to be part of a barkada, part of a group where we are the spouses of both Anne for Myke and then for Sue Ann for me, where they are former office mates, no, from Leo Burnett. So I've known Myke for quite some time. It's very interesting when he got into what it is that he is going to talk about today. His background is in human resource. He was in human resource in Globe, and then later on he moved on to Singapore. But then kind of evolved from there, no, into what it is that he does now. Now he does a lot of consultancy work for companies to help them in their planning, in their strategies, in how it is that they look at their businesses. Now, imagine when you were young, which was not very long for many of us. Imagine your favorite toy or favorite thing that you used to play with. Okay, and imagine actually building a career around that. That is the gift that Myke has been given. He is going to talk about one of his favorite toys, if not his favorite toy, but how it is that it can be used for business today. And he has helped many companies actually plan for their futures using this method. He is certified as a Lego serious play consultant. So how he got that, I don't know. But wouldn't it be interesting to be certified by the company of your favorite toy, right? So he's going to talk about play, okay, how it is that we can use play for our businesses. And I'm very interested to hear his thoughts on how it is that we can maybe put a little young spin on the businesses that we have. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you a fellow Atenean, which frankly should have been enough of an introduction. Mr. Myke Santos, thank you.
All right, thank you, Reg, for a very warm and personal introduction. And first, I'd like to thank everyone here for having me and giving me the opportunity to share something that I do. As Reg mentioned, I used to be in corporate HR for a long time in my career. I used to work on mergers and acquisitions, retrenchments, redundancies, and reorganizations. And after a while, I decided to, why not play with Lego for a living, right? Okay, so today's topic is about building a mindset of play. So it's not quite about Lego, but it's really about building a mindset of play. Let me just get my... Right, so I'm actually a consultant and a coach. I work for my own company called Brick Management Consulting. And it's called Brick Management Consulting because we believe in this metaphor of new bricks for a new world. The world around us is changing, and therefore our skills, our mindsets, our attitudes are like old bricks. And so if the world is changing, then we must have new bricks to play with, right? So we need to build change brick by brick because change doesn't happen overnight. So together with me, just to mention, is a fellow facilitator over there. His name is Dae Lee. His name is that way because he's actually Korean. But you can also call him Dr. Dae because he has a PhD in organizational development. So we work together in change management for different companies here and in the region. So let's begin. We start with this premise that play is the highest form of research. Einstein actually said that. And at this point, I'd like to make the assumption that everybody in this room at a certain point has been 5 years old at a certain point. Everyone? Yeah. Yeah? Okay, all of us have been 5. Okay, still 5. Some of us straight to 40, you know? But most of us have been 5 years old at a certain point. So if you guys were 5 years old at a certain point, I'd like to ask you guys, what would this be for you? Just shout it out. What would this be for you if you were 5 years old? A car, what else? Something to climb into, okay? A boat, a car, anything else? A table, yeah, flip it over. It's a table, a car. It could be a spaceship, a cave, whatever you want, right? As long as more than one of you can come in, the more fun it is. Now, at 5 years old, we learn this essence of play as a form of research. Why? Because when we see a box, when children see boxes, I don't know if you've seen this in Christmas. If there's a big box, children will not play with the toy, they will play with the box, right? Because play gives us open-ended exploration. It's not just a box. It could be a spaceship, a car, something to climb into, someone to hide in, right? And second, what it does is it opens up our imagination and creativity. And so I was happy when I saw actually Rotary's theme for the year, Imagine Rotary, because nothing like play brings out imagination, right? And here's the last part. If your playmate says it's a spaceship, but you say it's a car, you need to learn how to connect with one another and negotiate. So as early as 5 years old, we learn the beauty of play as research. Now, let's bring this here on answering the question for this quick talk about how might we build a mindset of play. And we're not gonna use boxes now. We're gonna use the Lego bricks that I have brought here today for use. I'd like you guys to get a bag, open it up. Feel the 6 bricks. There's only 6 bricks. You have all the same parts. Please open it. And maybe I'll take a quick survey. When was the last time you touched Lego bricks? This year, anyone? This year? Okay, wow, okay. Right, wow. 5 years ago, played with Lego 5 years ago. Okay, yeah. 10, cannot remember. 10 years ago, cannot remember. All right, good. They're very simple. There are holes in the bottom and pegs on top. They connect. All right, so I'm gonna give you a few challenges. This is an interactive talk. And so I'm going to give you a chance to play today. Are we ready? Yes? Ready? Okay, you have your bricks. All right, so I'm just going to give you an easy challenge using the bricks. Can you please, no copying. Please build a duck. Please start. Please build a duck. Just going to give you a minute. Yeah. Don't show it first to people. Hold it to yourselves. All right. All right, build a duck. Two hands are better. I can hear the laughing already. This is play. Please build a duck. Okay, anybody still building? All right, I think, okay. I'd like you guys to hold your duck and then please pick a partner. Maybe if if you're uneven, maybe three, a group of three or two. Okay, this is what you're gonna say. I'm gonna ask you to show your duck to your teammate or pair. And I'm going to ask you to share a description of your duck. What makes it a perfect duck? Please tell your teammate, your group mate, what makes it a perfect duck. Please start. Yeah, all right. Why is it the perfect duck? Why is it the perfect? All right. Okay, everybody told the story? Everybody told the story? Can I have a volunteer to share why your duck is the perfect duck? Just anyone? Or somebody you want to hear from? Okay, people want to hear from Reggie. Okay, Reggie, please stand up. Can we see the duck?
Yes.
I'll hold it. Okay, guys, this is Reggie's duck. Why is it the perfect duck?
I analyze what makes a duck unique. And based on my analysis and discussions, I think it's the bill.
Okay.
And then I also analyze the pieces and the pieces that are very different. Of course, the eyes is there, no? So the eyes is already the eyes.
Okay.
It's the red pieces. So I felt that the red pieces could be the bill.
Yeah.
So I could form the perfect duck.
All right, thank you. So a perfect Dr. Reggie is one with a big bill. Please give him a hand. All right. All right. So when you look at your ducks, do any of the ducks look the same for you? Are any of your ducks similar or all different? Yeah. You guys had all the same 6 bricks. You all guys had the same 6 bricks, but you all built different ducks. What's the first lesson? The first lesson of play here. And I have my slides back. Slides back. All right. Good. So what does that mean? Okay. In a world that is more and more complex, such as our world today, play brings about diversity of thoughts. Because no wrong answers means openness to new ways of solving complex problems. Everybody here is a leader of their organization. And what is usually done when you go into a meeting and the boss, you guys, come in and say, so what do you guys think of the problem? The typical thing that happens is in a meeting, people will tend to look down and keep quiet because adults think that the boss is looking for a right answer, right? But maybe, well, there are right answers to things, right? But perhaps in a discussion, bosses really want to hear people's perspective. And so play brings about an openness to diversity of thought, especially if we have complex problems. It means that we have to be open to diversity of thought. All right. Are you ready for your second challenge? All right. Please dismantle the duck. All right. There are only 3 challenges. So this is the second one. Okay. Dismantle the duck. And now, here's the second challenge. Don't show anyone. Please build anything but a duck. Anything but a duck. Anything but a duck. Anything but. You know, children playing with Lego, this also happens. Complete silence and focus. All right. I guess you're ready. Good. Now I'd like you to pick a partner, and I'm gonna let you exchange your whatever you built. So these are called Lego models now. They're not ducks. They're Lego models of something. Please exchange it with someone on the table. Exchange it with someone. Exchange it with someone. All right. So everybody exchange your model. Exchange it with someone. Exchange it with a partner. Okay, here it is. So now everybody has a new model, right? So I'm going to ask you guys to tell a story about the model you are holding. Okay? The first person is now holding a model of technology today. Please explain to your partner why what you're holding today, what you're holding is technology today. Describe it. Please start. What's technology today? Yeah, Chris. Why is what you're holding technology today? Please describe the model. The model you're holding is technology today. Okay. All right. Okay, that's player one. Player two has a different model. Player two has a different model. Player two is holding, and please explain the model you're holding. Using this, you are now holding a model of millennials in the workforce. Please explain it. So that's a millennial. Please explain. Millennial. Okay. All right. So everybody shared. Okay. So first, I want to ask you guys, so maybe let's have a volunteer. Who do we want to hear explain technology today? Louis. Okay, we have a volunteer. We have a volunteer. Okay, Sir Tito, please stand up. Is it okay? Okay, I'll hold it na lang. Okay. So this is technology today.
It's a very, very mini aircraft carrier. And the only reason why I thought of it is because I'm watching this Netflix, episode called Diplomat. You should all watch it.
Thank you.
It's about an aircraft carrier.
Yeah. Millennials?
No, it doesn't.
This is a millennial.
It may not.
Okay,
signify.
may I hold it up?
I'm trying to do a flying taxi.
Okay, this is flying taxi. All right. Also technology. All right. Thank you. Anybody have a description of the model of a millennial? Yes. Okay. I see millennials in the house, so or Gen Zs in the house, but all right. Okay, guys, this is a millennial.
It's the other way around, actually.
Oh,
That's it. Yeah. So this guy is really a complete picture portrait of a millennial, and he's got a hat on back to front.
Okay.
His cap is on back to front.
A cap back to front.
Yeah. And
All
his
right.
arms and his legs.
Thank you. Anybody else has a millennial? All right. So let's give those who shared a hand, please. Okay. So you guys did very well. If there was player three, you'd talk about marriage, but just looking at our time, what was this about, right? First, you built a model of a duck, you exchanged it, and now you told stories about something completely unpredictable. And our world today is one that is unpredictable. Even as we speak, this little virus over here keeps on changing. It's very unpredictable, its impact on our lives. So what does play ask us to do? Play asks us to learn a new skill, which is improvisation. We need to learn how to improvise. because we need to rely on spontaneity and imagination versus looking for, or rigidly sticking to our plans. Sometimes, as we learned 3 years ago, sometimes our plans just won't stick and we have to make it up along the way. That's the second lesson. And so here is the last build that I'm going to ask you to do. So in Lego Series Play, we call these things builds. So I'm going to ask you to build one last thing. All right? Here we go. I think you're experts at this point. So it'll just be a few seconds. Please dismantle the model that you built. And I'm going to ask you to build something, a model that represents another thing. Ready? Ready? Okay. Amidst today's business challenges, and let me just change what's written, build a duck that represents a capability that you think the Rotary Club of Makati needs to learn to thrive into the future. Okay, and it doesn't need to be a duck. It's just, oh, okay, it does say duck. Anything that represents a skill, an attitude, a mindset that this organization needs to learn to thrive in the future. Don't think about it. The ducks are going to come out. The model will come out. The meaning will come out. Now, once you built that model, it now represents a skill, a mindset, an attitude that this organization needs to thrive in the future. So think about that one word, one word. All right, so now in your table, please take turns saying, what's that one word? Share in your table, what's that one word of the model that you built? What do we need to learn? Okay, please start. So what's it? Let's say one word. Yeah. Flexibility. What we need to learn? Change. Change. Pivoting. Okay. And openness. All right. Okay, I heard from this table the words that they chose. May I hear, what are the few words that you guys chose? Flexibility, agility, fly, innovation. Here, a word that you guys shared? Adapt. Okay, being able to adapt, right? So when you hear all the people in the room identify the skill that needs to be built, right? And not all of you chose the same name, the same words. It means that there is feedback to be learned from one another about what each of you think the organizations need. And so the last part is that in a world that becomes more and more challenging, play can bring out that mindset of helping us build and identifying new capabilities. We learn through experimentation. Actually, President Michael actually said the word experimentation, iteration and feedback from others, meaning after this session, you might ask each other, so what does innovation mean for the Rotary Club of Makati? What does agility mean for us? And it becomes a springboard for taking action and continuous learning. All right. So in a nutshell, a mindset of play is important because when the world is complex, we need diversity of thought. When the world is unpredictable, we need to learn how to improvise. When we are faced with new challenges, it's a call for us to build new capabilities. Now, just to be technical about it, so this is kind of skills for the future. What they say is that if we look at the left side and the right side of the brain, left side handling all the logic parts, skills are important, right? Material abundance, we can get many things of online shopping. We can automate and outsource a lot of things. We can use artificial intelligence like the winners of the Hatch program. But on the other hand, the other capability we need to use in our brain is the right side. which is about design, story, meaning, and play, which is what we did today. As we lead our organizations, we need to take a look at play this way. Take a look at these photos of children playing. Does it look like how we plan for our businesses, or in this case, planning our plans for battle, perhaps, right? And so what if we could bring play into the workplace so that we can agree about the landscape that we are operating in, right? So this is kind of a strategic plan for a big conglomerate that we work with. It's about how we play in our landscape for business. How do we bring this element of improvisation and new skills and openness, right? So that we don't go through things the usual way. And we learn this from a Polish-American psychologist, Myke Csikszentmihalyi. If you want to know how to pronounce this, everyone together, Myke Csikszentmihalyi. That's his name. And he talked about flow. I'm sure a lot of you must have heard about flow. When we're learning something, it's about the mix or the intersection of challenge and capability. If the challenge is too high, if our capabilities are high and the challenges we take are low, what happens is we get bored. But if we face challenges that are too high beyond our capability, we get anxiety. And so flow, according to Csikszentmihalyi, is that middle flow zone wherein we take on bigger and bigger challenges, and then our skill increases. So it feels more like that. Yeah, and that is how we learn. All right, with that, with improvisation, planning, you do need planning, we do need protection, but at a certain point, people we lead need to be let go in order to play. So one more thing, we need to pause to play. It's important after playing, we need to recharge our bottom-up brain, the way it works. When you built the models and you explained things, that's your bottom-up brain working rather than your executive control, right, for focus. So we have to give our brains time to rest and recharge as well. Okay, and so thank you so much. We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. So let's stay curious, creative, build our capability, and keep on playing. And this is how we build a mindset of play. Thank you very much. You might put in the bricks into the bags and then put them in the middle. We'll just collect them afterwards. Thank you so much. When Reggie has the budget, let's see. All right, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Michael, for that very interesting, entertaining, and informative presentation. Now, before we move on to the Q&A portion, let's acknowledge first the presence of Sue and Nolido, and of DG&D Reggie Nolido. The floor is now open for questions. Anybody would like to start the Q&A?
I have a question.
Yes, President Michael.
So, Myke, can you give us a specific example of a specific company without naming names of what you did to change them, and what change did you actually make?
Great. So we did a strategy workshop with a big retail company, and we built a landscape just as you saw there, wherein each functional head built a model of what they thought their department did in the organization. And this company said, digital is the way to go. But when the head of digital built their model, it was very, very small, which meant that it was an eye-opening moment for the group, because the capabilities that they had invested in for their digital capability did not match their ambition. So seeing it visually and tactilely You kind of made them more aware. That's one thing. Thank you. Thanks for that question.
Okay. Next question. Yes,
Yes, Sir June.
Architect June.
Yeah. I'm just sharing my observations. We are a firm of about 100 architects, planners, and engineers. And nine of our colleagues are LGBTs. When we do a design charrette is brainstorming among architects, designers. The 9 LGBTs, in a design charrette brainstorming, they seem to be more vocal than the women.
Okay.
The guys are very careful.
Yes.
Is that so? We are a company with diversity and inclusivity.
Right. Right. Okay. I think
LGBTs, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they seem to be when they are brainstorming.
Yeah.
Even if we tell them nobody's right or wrong here,
Right.
because when we do a design, come out with maybe a dozen ideas, we tell it down to 3 concepts, but every time we do, it's the LGBTs who are more vocal,
Yes.
not afraid to make a mistake.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir, for the question. I think that regardless of LGBTQ or gender, there will always be in a room of brainstorming people who are more quiet than others who are more comfortable to express. So not necessarily because of the gender, I think, gender identity, but what this does in our work as we use this with different organizations is that, well, we're in a room full of very accomplished business leaders, right? But at a certain point, all of us have been 5 years old. So the element of play gives us the psychological safety that we're all even, you all have the same bricks. And so if you have a facilitator, which is basically what we do with this method, is that number one, play makes it safe because you think you're playing, but you're actually expressing yourself. And then second, because it's a facilitated method, we make sure that everybody gets the same voice. So whether gender identity or not, we've had cases wherein we have leadership teams where the leader or the president is so really strong, has a really strong personality, that when the president talks, everybody's quiet. But having Lego in the room makes you feel all equal as much as the brainstorming or discussion is going on. So that's kind of the science behind the Lego Serious Play method. Now, maybe I'll just share. The method was started 25 years ago at the Lego Group, precisely when the Lego Group needed to reinvent its strategy in order to innovate because they were being overtaken by video games. So they partnered with 2 academicians who did research on the concept of serious play. And Lego was the first sponsor. This is why it's called Lego Serious Play. So it's used globally for big companies and really top leadership discussions. I hope that. Thank you. Yes.
All right.
Suan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon. I wanted to say first before my question that I belong to the Publicis group of companies, and they conducted also a Lego workshop for their leaders. And it was so successful, so they cascaded it to different markets, including the Philippines. So we had our Lego session also.
Yeah.
And what we observed after that was that the participants were middle managers, senior people. They were more expressive when they do presentations. So they weren't afraid to now voice their opinion versus especially since coming from a pandemic, they were hired during a pandemic. They've never met their office mates, and suddenly they go into a workshop, and then they realize that, hey, it's my voice is heard. And it's so my question though is, are there companies that you work with that were not as responsive, or what were the challenges then, and how do you turn that around?
Right. Thank you. If the Publicis workshop was about mental health, okay, that was our group. That was our group that did that. Unfortunately, we weren't around to facilitate that. Okay. Right. So when you go into a facilitated workshop like that, like any OD consultant will tell you, pre-diagnostics will be important, right? Just so we know the nuances of the group dynamics that are there. I think, okay, while there are moments wherein building feels less safe because you're talking about a topic that is touchy already, right? And then some people are not willing to hear it anymore. Okay, so there are those moments, but the point is when you use this method, you're not talking about the person, so it's not offensive to a person. I may be talking about you're talking about the object. So the scientific term, I guess, would be object. I forget it now, but it's object-mediated conversation. Object-mediated conversation. So it's different when I'm talking to the president and I say, "Boss, we have no direction." Versus I show him this model and say, "Sometimes it feels like this, running like a headless chicken." So it becomes less offensive, especially in the Asian context. We tell a story about this. I'm not judging anyone. So that's how we manage it. So we always say, talk about the model. Talk about this thing, not about how you feel about that person or not. Talk about the model. Yeah. That's how we handle that. Thank you.
Okay.
Great
Any other questions? Yes, Rodrigo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, thank you for the talk. We are in the training also of executives, and we find a lot of resistance sometimes because of the cultural issue in the Philippines. Now, models come from the US and Europe, and those models are well thought and they're very well developed for those cultures. But when you come here, you find the hierarchy, the power distance issue being a hindrance actually for better development. So I don't know if with these type of methodologies, people lower their guard, allowing others in the company to be more proactive and to be more, suggestive, let's say,
yes,
about what the company should be doing. I don't know what your experience with that regards, and if the success of a methodology like this is more applied for young companies than already well-established companies.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So in our work, we've done work with startups to top conglomerates to some NGOs. We've done this with different countries and different cultures. And so what the science says, and again, there's a lot of science academic research behind this, is that play will really even the ground, regardless of culture. Sure, their models will reveal their culture. Like, for example, I might build a really big lion to represent how I see the boss, right? But the method at least gives everybody common ground to speak of. It's the same landscape we're talking about. The beauty of this model is that it's not only my words, it's I can see what you mean, right? So that connects it. We've worked with, I did a workshop between Filipinos and, let's say, folks from Myanmar for a joint venture. And cultures were different, or even Singaporeans and Germans. We belong to an association of trainers that's global. So we know that it works regardless of culture. Even for people who have never held Lego before, they can still tell stories. Everybody can play, everybody can tell stories. So it does even out.
Okay. Keith?
Can you describe, have you had any experience with LGUs or governmental bodies rather than corporations and NGOs?
Okay. I think the closest thing that I did was I worked with the Palawan Council of Sustainable Development in Palawan. And they were planning their communication strategy. So we made a map of their communication strategy. So yes, I mean, that's the closest I've worked with government. Sorry? Yes, yes. So what they realized when they made a physical map, it's interesting. So they were creating this communication plan, and I told them to build models of their stakeholders in relation to their communication plan. And I said, how far or how near do you feel these stakeholders are? And they realized that they've been communicating to one stakeholder, but the most important stakeholder felt this far. So it's visual and tactile and spatial, right? So you could see they felt that their message was hitting here, but not here. A certain barangay captain, I think, blocking their plans in somewhere in Palawan. So it works. I mean, again, planning is pretty, it's generic across, right? You need to know the landscape, you need to know your stakeholders, and then decide what to do. Closest thing to government.
Okay,
Yes,
PP Cesar.
Thank you for your speech. Have you had cases of family corporation where you have tried this play approach? No?
Yes. Okay. Yes, we did. This was interesting. A well-established, still a retail and land family corporation. And they invited us to their family council, actually, where they had 3 generations, where the second generation was already in charge, and the third generation were already studying abroad. And so we used the method to let the third generation build their aspirations for
Was
themselves.
the founder there?
They were,
because the influence of the founder is quite
Yeah.
big.
yes. The founder at that time, the founder was no longer around. It was the second generation that has had taken over, was the lead already. And there we found out the third generation had their own ambitions. Some of them said that we have other paths to take. Some of them said we'd be happy to go join and
Thank
contribute.
you.
Yes. So also across family, right? It becomes less awkward because we're just playing. We're just playing. We're just talking about this. Not to say that it's not challenging to still facilitate these discussions, but it does help when there's common language, which is play. So it bridges the gap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions, gentlemen? Yes. Would you like to ask a question, Ria?
Yes. Hi.
Yeah, please proceed.
Hi, good afternoon, Sir Mike. I'm Ria from Kada Career, and actually, one thing that we really advocate about is like we offer workshops to low-income students and through the digital space. And actually, we were really inspired by the concept of like playing in the workshop. So I would like to ask if like based on today's activity, it's a very face-to-face type of activity. But since we're a digital platform, like have you ever tried making workshops in like a digital space? And if ever you did, how did it pan out?
Okay. At the height of the pandemic, we had no choice. So we did find ways to ship Legos to participants. Well, according to our method, it really degrades the experience. I mean, participants will not notice, but we will notice, right? So we always encourage a physical presence there. But there are other methods, of course, to facilitate things. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks so much. I just realized that we were talking about cultures, and maybe my partner Day here, he's actually Korean, so you might want to share like your experience with the.
Go ahead, Day. We still have time.
The work that you did.
Hi. Yeah, just to give you a background, I am Korean, pero marunong mag-Tagalog konti lang. Hindi, joke lang, marunong mag-Tagalog. So yeah, I study cultures, different cultures. And I think to the question of Rodrigo a while ago about cultures, I come from the military, so I'm military trained. I used to work for the I think, biggest international organization in the world. So I think I can mention it. I work for the UN. And there you have ego. You also have hierarchy and different cultures. And the best way to get people together and talk to each other and see what you mean was actually using this method so that a general can actually talk to a private easily in different cultures. And if your cultures are different, sometimes, to be honest, most wars, I think, happen because people don't understand each other. Like one person says, oh, there's a bazooka there, but apparently it's just a handgun, right? That's why wars happen. But having a mediated object in front of you to talk about can actually help people see what you mean. So that has helped a lot. And honestly, I've been working with Myke, I think, for years. And thankfully, we haven't had any resistance after the workshop. There's always resistance in the start. People are like, why would I play? I'm too old for this. But at the end of the day, they're the biggest supporters, the people who were skeptics in the start. So yeah, it actually does work for us.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you.
Yep. Any other question? Myke, I have a question. For an organization such as a group of accountants, is this method going to work as well?
As long as you have been 5 years old at a certain point.
All right.
Okay, now they will play different. Accountants will actually account for the bricks. Just
Okay.
kidding. But I do notice that they kind of sort it and count it. But no. Any. The eldest that we've that I've eldest participant I've had was 80. He was a chairman of a board. At 80, he was playing and telling stories. It's about telling stories, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions before we move on to the next part of the program? Okay, I guess there are no other questions, so we can request now our president for his response, and then that's will be followed by the adjournment of the meeting. Thanks.
Thank you, Tokayo, for your talk today. It's nice to know that we can all still be children and we can all get along. And when we cooperate with each other, something new and better will happen. And I think that's the story of our Rotary Club. We have all diverse backgrounds, but we come together in a common cause and everyone contributes to become a much better society. So thank you for your talk today. On behalf of everyone, may I give a certain certificate of appreciation for your talk today, together with a book of 55 years of the Rotary Club of Makati. So here is yeah.